Now, I know you've heard this one before, but just in case you haven't, change the things that you can change and don't worry yourself about the things that you cannot change. Because at the end of the day, why worry yourself about things that are outside of your control, that you can't really change or impact the outcome? It just doesn't make sense. For example, the stock market, the economy, inflation. You don't have any control over what happens with those things tomorrow. They are going to be whatever they're going to be. So don't lie awake at night worried about those things. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay attention to it so that you can make adjustments when you see things are not going well, but don't worry about it. But now there are some things that I think you should be thinking about a lot. And that's the service that you provide to your customers as a freight broker. That is something that should be at the forefront of your mind. You should be constantly thinking about how I can get better, how I can provide a better service to my customers. Why is that? Why should you be in thought about that all the time? Because there's competition out there. There are truck drivers, there are other freight brokers out there that are providing the same services that you are providing. And your customers are not working with you. They are not paying you just because they want to pay you. They are paying you because your service provides value. And the second that it does not provide value, they are going to start to look somewhere else. So I lie awake at night thinking about, am I providing enough to my customers? Do they see the benefit in what it is that I'm providing? Are they getting value out of what I'm providing? I always want to think about how I can become a better communicator, how I can come up and give better rates in FTL lanes, LTL lanes. How can I make myself as a brokerage more attractive? Do my carriers see value in the services that I provide? Am I communicating to them where they understand and giving them enough information where it makes their jobs easier? We have to think about that as freight brokers. This is not just about offering trucks to a shipper and the shipper saying, yes, oh, go ahead and send the truck over. This is not just about going in and saying, this is the rate we have in the lane, and the truck just saying, okay, we'll go ahead and accept that rate. It's about the overall service that you provide to your shippers, a professional service that your shippers and truck drivers can see value in. As a non-asset freight broker, you don't have physical assets. So you have to take the assets that you use, or you do have, and highlight those assets. Your skills, the value that you bring to the table, that is what's important. That's what you have to pay a lot of attention to. A good question freight brokers should ask themselves is, what do your services actually do? What do your services help your shippers accomplish? What's your on-time pickup rates? How about your on-time delivery rates? How much money have you been able to help your shippers save in the lanes that you're currently working? As compared to last year, what is freight spend in those lanes? How have you been able to help your shippers save on unnecessary accessorial charges? If these are some things that you can speak to, you're in good shape. If you cannot speak to these things, you're just hoping for an opportunity. Now, the main thing that freight brokers provide to shippers is trucking capacity. Trucking capacity in the FTL space, the LTL space, the various types of freight that need to be moved on a daily basis. Can you provide those types of trucks to your shippers on demand? Now, what we provide to carriers is consistent freight. How often can you provide your carriers with freight, even when freight gets tight? Can you deliver on those deliverables over and over and over again? How reliable, how trustworthy are you as a brokerage? When you give your word, do you usually deliver on that word? How about your response time? How long does it take you to respond to shippers when they send you an email? Maybe they're asking questions about a particular load, or maybe they're looking for a quote in a particular lane. How long does it take you to get back with that shipper to let them know you've received the email and you're working on the quote, or you may be working on the answer to the question that they've asked? How reliable, how responsive, and how responsible are you as a brokerage? When you are given a load from a shipper and you've said, hey, you're going to move that load at X price, how often do you deliver on your word and do exactly what you say you're going to do? All of these things matter, and they matter a whole lot. This is what determines not if you get the first load, but if you get load after load after load. And that is what decides whether you become a successful freight broker or not. Now, if you're struggling to get customers as a new freight broker, you should be struggling. That's a part of the process. Going through that process and learning from your mistakes and starting to implement different ways of speaking to your shippers is all a part of it. I hope you've been able to listen to something that I've said today and start to add these things to what it is that you have been offering to your shippers. I hope this information has been helpful. If you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's the 5-video series, and it's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It'll give you a chance to come into the office with me via video, and you can watch me as I move loads, talk to shippers and carriers to give you a better understanding of how this business works before you come into it. And then if you're interested in learning more about how LOADBOARD works, I'm going to leave you a free video right here. That's a tutorial that shows me in the office using a load board to find our carriers, post loads, and using a rate sourcing tool to make sure that we get the best rates. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.